Alright, how many of you have seen a Carl's Jr. commercial or a Victoria's Secret ad with the girls skimpily dressed trying to sell a product? Yeah, pretty much everybody. Media, just like these advertisements, are promoting negative ideas on today's teenagers. Everywhere you go, you hear advertisements that have harmful messages to our youth, such as teaching children that if you get pregnant at a young age, you could possibly be a star on the TV show 16 and Pregnant. I claim that media is negatively influencing teenagers by promoting sexuality and an unrealistic body image. First, media encourages sexuality in teens by A, having too many sexual references in the media, B, acting as a source of sexual education, and C, negative effects it causes in teenagers. First, there are too many sexual references in the media. The American Psychology Association estimates that teens are exposed to 14,000 sexual references and innuendos per year on TV alone. A recent study report from the Center of Media and Public Affairs found that music videos contain more sex per minute than any competing media genre. And according to Crisis Connection, a study of about 4,300 network television commercials found that nearly 1 in 4 commercials include some type of sexual attractiveness as a base for the message. B. Teenagers use media as a source of sexual education. According to Crisis Connection, young teens from the ages 13 to 15 indicate that a major source of their sexual education is from TV. In addition, 4 out of 10 teenagers say that they have gotten ideas from how to talk to their boyfriends and girlfriends about sexual issues from the entertainment media. Continuing, young teens bring entertainment media as the top source of information about sexuality and sexual health. C. Sexual media causes negative effects in teenagers. In a search conducted by News Medical, they found that white teens in the study who had a high sexual media diet when they were 12 to 14 years old were twice as likely as those with a low sexual media diet to have sex only 2 years later. Twice as likely. And furthermore, Crisis Connection adds that 3 out of 4 teens say that TV shows and movies make it seem normal for teenagers to have sex. Secondly, media promotes negative, unhealthy body image, which can lead to eating disorders and steroid usage. Advertisements promote an unachievable body type. In the article, Media Influence on the Youth, it says that 69% of girls in one study said that a magazine models influence their ideas of a perfect body shape. And by the time a young person is 17 years old, they have received over 2,500,000 commercials, messages through the media. That's a lot. According to the contributors of Washington.edu, one study reports that at the age of 13, 53% of American girls are unhealthy or unsatisfied with their body image. This number grows to 78 by the time they're 17. How many of you have seen the iconic Barbie doll? The little toys that everybody grows up playing with? Galia Slayan of the Huffington Post stated that if Barbie dolls were an actual woman, she would stand at 5'9", have a 39-inch bust, an 18-inch waist, hip size of 33 inches, and a shoe size of 3. She would weigh only 110 pounds and would have a body mass index of 16.24 and would fit the criteria for anorexia. Media causes eating disorders in teens. Crisis Connections found that 80% of 9-year-olds are on diets. This leads to binge dieting, bulimia, anorexia, depression, illegal steroids, and an unhealthy lifestyle. A survey conducted by Teens Future Media Network concluded that 80 million or more people in the United States have an eating disorder. Media causes steroid usage in young men. In 2008, research at Crisis Connections saw an alarming increase in observation need training in the usage of anabolic steroids and dietary supplements that claim to promise a bigger muscle and more stamina for lifting. Dr. Brian McDonald stated that a study published in October 2005 issue of Psychology of Men and Masculinity reported that between 7 and 11% of middle school boys have used steroids at some point to increase muscle and size tone. Magazines that promote men's health even advertise drugs to become leaner, such as Animal Rage or Muscle Milk, that are only sometimes a controlled form of steroids. Today's media is harming our youth. You may refute that obesity is a serious problem in this media, but it is in this country, but it is not proper to discourage one extreme with another. Whether it is through models that make us feel like we need to look a certain way, or shows that make sexual innocency seem appropriate for innocent youth, media is negatively influencing today's young teenagers.
All right, well, the proposition still has those 2 points in it, so I think there's got to be a way to simplify that argument because you're arguing for two consequences in the one proposition, and there's got to be an easier way so that both of those things could be the secondary points without sticking them in the proposition. The secondary claims are laid out pretty clearly, and they're signposted as you get to them. I was a little concerned at the beginning because it sounded like the third point didn't really make a claim. It was just presenting data, but I didn't remember hearing that as a problem when you got to that third point. So all the structural stuff is pretty solid. I thought you did a good job. You have a lot of evidence that's statistical in nature that you present. You provide source citations for most of the statistics. There's some testimony evidence also. I do think we need to have a little bit more information that explains why these statistics represent a type of causality that's going on here. I think there's a presupposition that the numbers speak for themselves, and I'm not exactly sure that's the case because you even mentioned it. There are numbers that would lead us to a different conclusion. The Barbie example, I think, is explained a little bit more. The idea that there's an eating disorder there, what you need is you need to tell us that the kids are influenced by the toys that they're playing with too. I'm not sure Barbie counts as the media. If she does, then it fits your category. If she doesn't, then it's really it doesn't really fit your example. You gave us source citations for all the evidence. I thought that was pretty good. Like I said, I think that the numbers and the statistics are pretty strong at building the argument that you've got, and you've got a nice presentation for the most part. You're doing a solid job there. The obesity argument that you make at the end is kind of a reservation issue. I think you're kind of missing the point of that argument. It's a causality challenge that people would be making. It's not a solution that's being proposed. All right, thank you.